Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of TJ's Chainsaw Restoration. Beautiful evening, nice and cool. Shoot, it went from in the 80s to the high 60s. Been a nice evening, getting a little cloud cover here I guess, so I wonder if we'll get a sprinkle. Anyhow, well, I got home today and a couple parts showed up in the mail. Still not the parts I'm hoping for. I'm really wanting those darn decals to show up from Sugar Creek Saw Supply. Listen real closely, we got a cricket somewhere in here too. Not sure if you can hear it. See if I can sneak up to him. There we go. Light tap on the garage door, that shut him up a little bit so I can get my 2 cents in. Those darn crickets just love yelling at you, that's for sure. Seems like they're always mad about something. Anyway, well, we got a set of hips, Captain. 10-4. Look at that. Anyhow, gas tank mounted, side plate mounted, and Brand's freaking new crank seals on both sides. She's already getting freaking heavy. As you can see, well, can't see, but there's a crank seal on that side. Got a gasket in there. I just went ahead and reused the old one. It was an awesome shape, with no cracking or anything. It was compacted a bit, but I've been, even with brand new gaskets, I put a really light layer of Honda Bond on there, just because I like sealing these things up really nice. I mean, I did the same thing here on the reed plate gasket that mounts directly to the frame. I went ahead and put a light coating of silicone, and all these gaskets, of course the carb gasket never gets silicone, and the reed valve block gasket's not siliconed either, for obvious reasons, but to the frame it is. The carb has been rebuilt with a genuine TL carb kit. I am so used to putting these sideways. I was trying to mount the tank last night and I kept hitting this. Damn near broke it because I was trying to force the tank up, and then I realized, whoops! So yeah, that is supposed to be right around that general area. There was a couple ways they mounted these fuel caps here with the hose nipple on it. I've seen pictures of some mounted straight up, and they had the hose running up and around and down. Seen others with them mounted sideways, and that's what I was going to do, is mount this sideways so it's just got one straight shot, save a little bit of fuel line. Because I'll be going with Tygon on the outside and still fuel line on the inside, matter of fact. Got a fuel line and filter there. That's about 1.5 feet because I'm going to try and get this XL running as well. But the tank's mounted. Had to really clean up the threads on this side for whatever reason, and of course bolts are mounted on the bottom. Like I said, side plates on, sealed up, new crank seal, and the part that came in today, which of course is already installed, is another crank seal. I actually found out that, if any of you guys are ever wondering, so you guys can see that there, the crank seals that are called for a 1050, an 1130, and I think a 1030, the newer ones are pretty much an exact same seal. Different part number. I think the only difference is like an A and a B. So I bought the seal, and for the life of me I can't remember the part number, but if you go and look up an IPL on a 990, you can just put an A or a B or something after it, and it'll supersede it to the newer seals, which it was a perfect fit. It sealed up really well around the crank, and it tapped right into the case. So don't feel heartbroken if a 990 crank seal doesn't pop up, because you can use those other ones as well. And the seals aren't too terribly expensive. I bought this for, oh gosh, I don't remember. I think I got this one for like $9, so that's not bad. I'm happy with it. But she's got a set of hips now, and I'm now remembering the sheer size of this darn thing. I mean, if you look at it, it's, you know, about as big as that freaking Sonic cleaner there, and this ain't no small saw. Guys, this is before the handle, so the handle sticks out, oh, probably about that much further. So, I mean, these are big. When I say big ass saw, I ain't kidding. These are 7 cubic inches, so it was a 2 1/4 bore, 1 3/4 stroke, something like that. So it's gonna have power. And then, I mean, when you reduce these things, reduce the chain speed, you can run a long bar and a big chain, and they'll just cut right through it. I did get lucky. This one does have the 2.8 to 1 gear ratio instead of the upper 3.5 to 1. So my chain speed is a little faster. Of course, with the 56-inch bar, which I'm thinking I may end up not using. The one thing I'm worried about is the mount. This bar is so wide at the base, and the sprocket on this is only an 8-tooth, and it's a smaller sprocket. I'm worried that I may not have enough grab on the chain, and I don't need it to be skipping on me, because, you know, it's hard to get the chains tight enough on these. And it also being a hard nose bar, you do have to leave a little bit of slack. So we'll see. Once I get to that point, when I get the saw done, I'm going to focus on that. I'll make some bushings so I can at least get the bar to sit there. I know what mods I have to do to at least get it to mount right. And I have to make an oiler hole and make a passage to push oil up. And that could also become an issue because it's so freaking thick in that area. So, oh, excuse me. Another part that showed up is my starter cup. So that was cool. Paid an arm and leg for this thing. $45 shipped to my door, which I guess considered it's not an arm and leg. One good thing about it was it has both the cover tab, which is hard to find, but it is dented to hell. I mean, you guys can see all the dents in there. So it's going to be fun trying to get this thing smooth. I probably won't be able to get it smooth, just like my 770. But I'll give it a whirl, and I may have a body shop. Hell, it's a small enough part, I'll give them $30 to do it. Who knows what it'll cost, but I might see if they can smooth that out for me and get it back to normal. So I'll blast it up. Like I said, as of now, I really am not going to do any more painting. Since my clear coat has an activator, I only have 2 full days to use it, so my other full can that I've got hidden around there somewhere is not even opened yet. And I'm going to try and paint all of this at one time, so that way it's all done, including the helper handle. And that's the thing I have to figure out if I'm going to use this bar. I found a banana nose, as I call it, cannon bar, which was 60 inches. And the guy wants $300 for it, or just over. And it's, oh man, I'm just having a hard time. It's 404, so it would be a 404 bar, but I'd rather have a hard nose or a roller nose because it's more period correct. And this one's a sprocket nose, but it's a banana bar. And what we call a banana bar is, oh, that dang cricket's yelling at me again, is a bar that's got that type of tip mount, where it's like a curved tip mount. You can see it's got the 3 rivets. I mean, we call those a banana bar. And like I said, that's what it is. Those are pretty darn old. I think banana bars are 60s, 70s, or like late 60s, early 70s. But you gotta remember, this is a late 50s saw. This was right around when the roller noses and the hard noses were still common. So it's hard to decide. It's $300 is not bad for a 60-inch cannon bar. That's a vintage bar as well and in decent shape. So, and it's got the correct amount of width right at the center. It's kind of wide like the McCullough bars, so it looks better than a newer bar where they tend to be skinnier, and it's just, I don't really care for them. Well, anyway, I'm going to quit jabbering here. I'm going to work on, get an IPL up on the computer and work on getting these gears mounted up. I do need to get a new nut for the one stud, because when I tried to take the old one off, that's what happened. And yes, it is as smooth as it looks. So, and yes, I knew that was, oh, these were, what thread were they? These were left-handed thread, if I remember right. And I remember I tried lightly one way, and then I tried lightly the other way, and whichever way I ended up going, it came, but it moved up a little, and then it stopped, and I was like, oh man, someone's probably tried to, get in here before. And I've been wondering, since the day I took the saw apart, if someone rebuilt this thing at one time. Just because of how clean everything was, and the fact that the funny thing was the wrist pin clips, how new those looked. The crank seals, when I popped those out, didn't look too terribly worn. The head gasket didn't look bad. The rings were shot, but even then the carb gaskets weren't all that bad. The inside of the tank isn't all that bad either. So, and when I remember pulling this out and wiping it down, it was really nice on the inside there. So it was just kind of like, huh, I wonder if it's been rebuilt at one time. But, you know, it's getting rebuilt again, if it has been rebuilt before. And hopefully she'll be a good runner. So, part 2, I think this is part 2. And today is June 4th. It's a beautiful Monday evening. Nice cool Monday evening. This is TJ saying, we'll see you next time. Have a good evening. Have a good week. And waiting on stinking chainsaw decals. That's the thing I can't get into my noggin, is to order those darn things a month ahead of my next project. So, tirelessly waiting. See ya.